If you sell anything on Amazon or honestly just buy things on Amazon, there's a new fee this week that just went live that's going to quietly raise your costs, and almost no one got a direct warning about it.
They said the same thing in 2020 and made it permanent, so be careful. This is the second fee increase this year. They already raised FBA rates in January.
And first, they drove out all the brick and mortars. Then, if you had a website and you sold your stuff directly, they drove those out too. So small businesses had no choice but to sell on Amazon.
So Amazon sellers are being hit with extra fees, and a lot of people are not happy about it. So if you sell on Amazon, or if you're thinking about selling on Amazon, you have to know that Amazon has imposed a new fulfillment fees for all sellers on their platform. So here's what is going on. Amazon recently added extra charges on top of their already expensive fulfillment fees for all sellers on their platform. And a lot of people are complaining about it. So I'm just going to show you a few videos.
If you sell anything on Amazon or honestly just buy things on Amazon, there's a new fee this week that just went live that's going to quietly raise your costs, and almost no one got a direct warning about it. Amazon announced a 3.5% fuel and logistics surge price on third-party sellers, the millions of small businesses that sell through Amazon's platform. It went into effect immediately, and it's directly tied to the spike in energy prices from the Iran war. Jet fuel alone is up over 80% since the conflict began. United Airlines just raised check bag fees $10 for the same exact reason. And here's the chain reaction that will hit your wallet. Sellers on Amazon absorb this fee for about a week, then they raise prices on their listings to cover it, which means that product you've been watching, the one that's been sitting in your cart, it's about to cost more. And this isn't Amazon's isolated decision. When the biggest logistics network in the world reprices, everyone else follows. UPS, FedEx, your local carrier. They're all about to watch this playbook. The part that most people are watching is what this does to small sellers specifically. And the 3.5% surge sounds small until you realize most Amazon sellers are already running margins between 5 and 15%. This doesn't just eat into profit. For some sellers, it flips the math entirely and makes certain products unprofitable to sell at all. What you'll see over the next few weeks isn't just price increases, it's products disappearing from the platform because the seller did the math and walked away. Less competition, higher prices, fewer options. That's the actual consumer impact. If you're a seller, this is the week to audit every SKU with margins under 10% and decide if you're raising prices, absorbing it temporarily, or pausing the listing. Don't wait for your next payout statement to deal this. If you're a buyer and you got a big purchase you've been putting off, electronics, home goods, anything shipped in a box, this week's prices might be lower than next week's. That window is short, and the Iran war isn't just a headline. It's already inside your Amazon cart, and it's about to get way more expensive. Share this with any small business owner who you know sells on Amazon. They need to see the math before this next shipment lands.
I run a warehouse in Brooklyn, and here's what no one's telling you. Amazon just added another fee. Starting April 17th, 2 weeks from now, every brand using FBA is paying an extra 3.5% surcharge on top of all of their fulfillment fees. No end date. They said the same thing in 2020 and made it permanent, so be careful. This is the second fee increase this year. They already raised FBA rates in January. Seller fees right now eat through half of the costs of every sale you make on Amazon. Here's a number that should scare you. Amazon made $172 billion last year just from fees it charges the sellers. You are not even their customer, you're their product. So here's what I tell every brand asking you for alternatives right now. You need to diversify where your sales are coming from. Amazon's awesome. Shopify and building your store on Shopify probably makes sense as well. Your own website, multiple channels, and your fulfillment should not live inside your Amazon warehouse. A 3PL does everything FBA does for you, same speed, same accuracy, but with multiple different carriers like Uni, SpeedX, UPS, FedEx, Post Office, and other alternative carriers that have no surcharges, that deliver at the same speeds, at the same accuracy, but you get to stay, your inventory stays in a warehouse that you control. It's allowing you to move your inventory where you need, doesn't freeze your stock, there's no surprise fees with no end date. Stop letting Amazon hold your inventory hostage while they decide what to charge you next. Because your inventory is there and they just impose this new surcharge.
I think this is just an Amazon problem. Let me explain why it's an everyone problem. A year ago, the average price of diesel was $3.64 per gallon. It is now, as of the time of this video on April 6th, $5.53 per gallon on average. Those are big costs when you have thousands of trucks in your network. So then they add on a surcharge, and that surcharge gets tacked onto the price of those goods. That's how logistics works. That's how the supply chain works. Amazon is not even the most aggressive. As you probably know, the Postal Service is adding an 8% surcharge for fuel starting on April 26th. UPS and FedEx also added or raised fuel surcharges. So that means every major carrier has added a surcharge that you can tie directly back to the Strait closing, the Strait of Hormuz closing. These surcharges are made to sound like they are temporary, but the thing is, I think intuitively we feel that that is not the case. I'm not just saying this out of theory. An energy analyst said to Politico, "I don't think we're going to go back to pre-war prices for the foreseeable future. Certainly not this year, maybe not even next year. Might not ever." So you have Amazon, FedEx, UPS, the United States Postal Service all adding on these surcharges. And those surcharges, in some instances, directly get paid by the consumer. There's also the timeline issue, which a lot of people just aren't even acknowledging, which is that the Strait has been closed since this conflict started. And it takes about 35 to 45 days from those ships, the ones that are coming to the United States, to go out of the Strait and get to the United States of America. So we are now just sort of exhausting the end of that supply. They call it a surcharge, I think, to sound fancy, but it's really just a sure charge to your costs, your bottom line, how much you pay for gas, how much you pay for groceries, and now how much you pay for deliveries. In French, the word sur means above or over. I don't think these price increases are going to be over anytime soon.
So Amazon just announced a 3.5% fuel charge to everyone selling on Amazon. You want to know why it's full of crap from China? 15 years ago, I started selling my products that I invented, that I designed. And first, they drove out all the brick and mortars. Then, if you had a website and you sold your stuff directly, they drove those out too. So small businesses had no choice but to sell on Amazon. And their fees are 7 times what they were just a few years ago. So they are squeezing small businesses out because they don't care about your products on Amazon, by the way. If you have a patent or trademark, they will let China rip it off and sell it on their site because it's too expensive for small business owners to defend their patent. And they have the nerve to charge 3.5% fuel charge for a war that they are responsible for creating by putting this lunatic in the White House, and they could absorb it 10 times over, by the way. This is just an excuse for them to make more money and to destroy small businesses. They are destroying innovation and design. Think about all the products that are around your home. You have any ones that you really like? Ones for your baby or for mothers? Those are created by mothers, okay? And they're not going to be able to keep doing that because they are intentionally destroying small businesses. And we can't keep up. And that is their
I hope now that they're increasing their fulfillment costs, they are going to also increase their workers' pay. That's what I hope. I don't want them to charge sellers so expensive for them to sell on their platform, but workers' wages stays the same, you know. So if they're increasing it for everyone that is utilizing their platform to sell, workers also have to be compensated for that. They have to increase their pays. This kind of feel like Amazon makes so much money for them to not impose these fees on their sellers. You know, like at this point, it's almost as if they're making it so hard for people to sell on their platform. And just remember, Amazon also sell their own products on their platform. So they're also making the competition very, very hard for people that sell on their product. Because let's say if you sell like glasses, right? To type in like, I don't know, sunglasses or whatever, the items that are going to pop up on the first screen on Amazon that you're going to see, it's probably going to be like Amazon products, like things like glasses that it's owned by Amazon. For your item to be shown on the first page of Amazon storefront, you are going to have to pay, not pay like what is it called? Yeah, pay for what is it called? Promotions. You're going to have to pay for promotion for your items to be shown on the first or second page of their storefront. So it's just really, really hard, you know, like, and then people will buy the item, right? Buy the item, use it or not even use it, open it, damage it, and then ship it back to Amazon. It goes back to the seller, not Amazon. So it's just, you would think that Amazon will lower their cost of like fulfillment cost for people to use or utilize their platform more. But no, that's not what's happening. That's not what is happening. They're imposing more fees and more fees and more fees and more fees on top of the already expensive fees. And then the sellers is also going to pass that fees to us. So now it's just, everything is just so expensive. Everything is just so expensive. So just be prepared to have a bunch of increases. If you're a seller on Amazon, I don't know, it's just gonna feel like you have to open your own storefront, if you want to keep your if you want to keep more of your profits and keep your products like on a reasonable price. You have to open your own store, like, I don't know, Wiz or Shopify or something, instead of Amazon FBA, because right now it's just going to cut into your profit. Because if I go on Amazon for something that I bought for like $20 and now it's like $25, I might look elsewhere, like, I don't know, maybe Walmart, somewhere. You know what I mean? So I don't know, that's something for you guys to think about. But you let me know what you think about this story down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.